Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. This week, we are tackling the February 17, 21 Razor Report on AI. Wow, you guys sent in a ton of articles, announcements, research papers. It seems like you really want to know how AI is changing things in the business world right now.
Yeah, it's a really fast-moving landscape for sure. But, that's what we do best here is we try to sift through the noise and find what matters.
Absolutely. And, one thing that really jumped out at me going through all this material is how much easier it's becoming to actually use AI. It used to be like this exclusive club just for like tech giants, but now it feels like almost anyone can get in on the action.
It really is a democratization of AI, isn't it? And it's happening in so many ways. Like take Baidu, for instance. They're not just making their Ernie bot free to use, they're open sourcing it. So just imagine like what businesses could do with that, especially in Asian markets where Baidu is such a big player. Suddenly you have all these startups, researchers, anyone can access these powerful language processing tools.
Right, it's a total game changer, especially for businesses that, maybe don't have the resources to build their own AI from scratch. And it's not just Baidu doing this, this is Google kind of doing the same thing with Gemini, right?
Oh, absolutely. Making Gemini free for things like, analyzing documents, code, that's a huge deal. Think about a small business owner, for example. They need to understand what their customers are saying. They need to analyze contracts, maybe even get a handle on their website's code. And now they have access to these really sophisticated tools that they never could have afforded before.
Yeah, it really is leveling the playing field, giving those smaller players a real chance to compete. And then you have Block, which is Jack Dorsey's company. They're going all in on open source with their Goose framework.
Right. Goose is really interesting because it's addressing this really critical issue of security. Think about industries like healthcare or finance, where data privacy is absolutely paramount. Goose gives developers a way to build AI applications that have security baked in from the very beginning. It's not just about building something cool, it's about building something responsible.
That's a really good point, especially with all the, concerns we hear about data breaches and AI ethics. So it seems like this whole open source trend is creating like a whole new ecosystem of tools and applications for AI. But this accessibility that we're talking about, it isn't just about general AI, right? It's also about AI becoming more specialized for specific jobs.
You're exactly right. We are seeing a surge in AI tools that are specifically designed to help people excel in their particular roles. Like, for instance, Fiverr is rolling out a bunch of AI tools that are tailored for freelancers. Imagine AI that can help you write winning proposals, manage client communications, even generate really high quality content.
So it's almost like giving every freelancer their own like AI-powered support team. That could be huge for productivity and efficiency.
Yeah.
But, do you think there are any potential downsides to this? Could these AI tools on Fiverr lead to more competition or maybe even devalue certain skills?
That's a really good question, and it's definitely something to think about. On the one hand, these tools could really empower freelancers to do more work, deliver even better quality. But yeah, you're right, they could also create more competition because it's easier for people to get started. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in the gig economy.
Yeah, definitely double-edged sword there.
Mhm.
And this focus on specialized AI isn't just limited to freelancing either, is it? I mean, even Google is getting in on the game with career dreamers.
Oh yeah, Career Dreamer is fascinating
Hmm.
because it's not just another job board. It's more like an AI career counselor. It looks at your skills, your experience, and then it suggests potential career paths that you might not have even considered. It can even help you write those, compelling career statements for your resume or LinkedIn profile.
So it's not just about connecting people with jobs. It's about helping them discover new possibilities, maybe even spark a whole career pivot. And that's got to be especially relevant in today's job market where everything is changing so quickly. But let's face it, with all this talk about AI transforming jobs, there's also a lot of anxiety about what it's going to be like for humans and AI to actually work together. Is this partnership always a smooth ride?
That's a really complex question. On the surface, it seems like humans and AI should be the perfect match, right? But some recent research from MIT suggests that it's not always so simple. They found that in some cases, teams that combined humans and AI actually performed worse than if they had just worked alone.
Wait, really? I thought the whole idea was that humans and AI could complement each other perfectly. What went wrong in these studies?
Well, it seemed like there were communication breakdowns. People were over relying on the AI and they had trouble coordinating tasks effectively. So it seems like just throwing humans and AI together without a clear strategy can actually backfire.
So what's the takeaway here for businesses that are, trying to integrate AI into how they work? How do they avoid falling into those traps?
I think the key is to be really strategic about it.
Hmm.
Focus on using AI for what it's good at, things like data analysis, content creation, repetitive tasks, and then let humans handle the stuff that requires, complex decision-making, strategic planning, the things that need empathy and emotional intelligence.
So it's about finding the right balance, playing to the strengths of both humans and AI. That makes a lot of sense. But it's also a good reminder that AI isn't some kind of magic bullet. It's a tool, and it needs to be used thoughtfully and strategically. But, we've been talking a lot about individual jobs. But AI isn't just changing jobs, it's reshaping entire industries, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's happening in ways that you might not even expect. Like, think about urban planning, for example. The city of Memphis is now using AI to do things like detect potholes and identify vacant properties. They're analyzing video footage from city vehicles using AI-powered image recognition.
Hold on, AI can spot potholes. That seems incredibly specific. How does that even work?
Well, it's all about pattern recognition. The AI is trained on thousands of images of potholes, and it learns to identify them in those real-time video feeds. So this lets the city repair those potholes way faster, which obviously improves safety and saves a ton of money.
It's almost like having an AI city manager constantly monitoring and optimizing things. That's amazing. And you said it can identify vacant properties too. That could be really helpful for cities trying to deal with things like blight and neglect. So what other industries are seeing this kind of disruption?
Well, the gaming industry is a really interesting example. Microsoft has this system called Muse, and it can actually generate playable game sequences from just 1 second of input. Just imagine what that means for game developers. They can prototype new ideas, they can experiment with different gameplay mechanics so much faster than before.
That is mind-blowing. It used to take years to build those really detailed game worlds. And now it sounds like with AI, you can just snap your fingers and have a playable level. It's incredible. What other industries come to mind?
Well, healthcare is another big one. The ARC Institute has developed an AI that can analyze billions of DNA building blocks, and that has huge implications for things like drug discovery, disease diagnosis, and even personalized medicine. We could potentially see faster drug development cycles, more accurate diagnoses, and treatments that are actually tailored to individual patients.
This is all incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
But it also raises a lot of questions about, the ethical implications of all of this. It feels like every week there's a new headline about AI bias or privacy concerns or the potential for misuse.
You're absolutely right. These are really important issues. And it's good to see that organizations like OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, are starting to take steps to address these concerns. They're rethinking their board structure to prevent takeovers and to try to ensure responsible AI development.
So they're trying to build in some safeguards to prevent AI from, going rogue.
Exactly. They're also working on making ChatGPT more diverse in its perspectives to mitigate bias. But it's not just OpenAI. Governments are also stepping in. South Korea recently temporarily blocked access to DeepSeek over data privacy concerns.
Wow, that's a big deal. It really shows that companies need to be very mindful of these ethical and regulatory considerations as they develop and deploy AI. But, the ethical implications of AI, that's a whole other can of worms. Maybe we can delve into that in more detail later.
Absolutely. I think it deserves its own deep dive, for sure.
For sure. But for now, let's step back and think about what all of this means for our listener. What are the key takeaways from this whirlwind tour of AI developments?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is no longer this futuristic fantasy. It's here, it's real, and it's transforming the way we work and the way we live. And it's all happening at an incredible pace.
Exactly. And whether you're a freelancer, a business owner, or just someone who wants to stay ahead of the curve, understanding AI is no longer optional.
Yeah.
It's essential. But, we've only scratched the surface here today. There's so much more to explore.
And that's why you should head over to razor.co and subscribe to their newsletter. You'll get links to all the amazing articles and resources that we've discussed today, plus a ton more.
That's right. You won't regret it. Now, before we dive even deeper into this AI revolution, we're going to take a quick break.
It's clear that AI is really changing the game for businesses and individuals alike. But I think it's important to remember that AI is more than just a tool for, efficiency and productivity.
Okay, I like where you're going with this. We've talked about the potential risks, the disruptions, but what about the positive side? How is AI being used to, actually make a difference in the world?
Oh, there's so many examples. One area that I'm really excited about is using AI to tackle these big global challenges like climate change and disease. We're seeing AI being used to develop more efficient renewable energy sources, to optimize resource management, even to predict and prevent natural disasters.
That's incredible. It's like AI is being deployed as a force for good, helping us create a more sustainable and resilient future.
Exactly. And in healthcare, I mean, AI is revolutionizing the way we diagnose and treat diseases. We talked about the Arc Institute's work on analyzing DNA. But there's so much more happening. AI-powered robots are assisting with surgery, virtual assistants are providing personalized health advice, and machine learning algorithms are helping to detect diseases earlier than ever before.
It's amazing to think about the potential of AI to improve health outcomes and even save lives. It paints a much more optimistic picture than all those doom and gloom scenarios we often hear about.
Right. It's all about perspective. AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's really up to us as a society to guide its development and make sure it's used ethically and responsibly.
Well said. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little more practical.
Yeah.
For those of us who aren't, scientists or policymakers, how can we stay ahead of the curve in this AI-driven world? What can we do to adapt and thrive?
Well, I think first and foremost, embrace curiosity. Stay informed about the latest AI developments and how they're being applied in different industries. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, attend conferences, engage in online communities. There are so many ways to learn and stay up to date.
So become an AI enthusiast. I can get behind that. What else?
Don't be afraid to experiment. There are tons of AI-powered tools and services available today that can help you with your work, your personal life, everything. Play around with them, see what works for you. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
That's great advice. It's like that old saying, the best way to learn is by doing. But with AI, it feels like the learning curve can be pretty steep.
It can be, but it doesn't have to be. There are plenty of beginner-friendly resources available, and a lot of AI tools are designed to be pretty intuitive and easy to use. You don't need to become an AI expert overnight. Just start small, focus on the areas that interest you most, and gradually build your knowledge and skills. It's all about taking those first steps and embracing the learning process.
That's reassuring. So no need to feel overwhelmed. Just start exploring and see where AI takes you. But let's be honest, there's a lot of hype around AI. It can be hard to separate fact from fiction sometimes. What are some common misconceptions about AI that we should be aware of?
Oh, there are plenty. One of the biggest ones is that AI is going to steal all our jobs. And while it's true that AI will automate some tasks and potentially displace certain jobs, it's also creating new opportunities. Remember, AI is still a long way from being able to fully replicate human intelligence and capabilities.
Right, so it's not about humans versus machines. It's about humans and machines working together, finding that synergy and creating something even greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. Another common misconception is that AI is this magical black box that can solve any problem. But the reality is that AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on, and they're still prone to errors and biases.
That's an important point. It's easy to get caught up in the hype and forget that AI is still a technology under development, and that development is driven by humans, who, let's face it, aren't always perfect.
Exactly. Which is why it's so important to be critical thinkers and not just blindly trust everything that AI systems tell us. Always question the source of the data, consider the potential biases, and look for multiple perspectives before making important decisions.
So basically, approach AI with a healthy dose of skepticism, and use your human judgment to guide you. Don't surrender your critical thinking skills to the algorithm.
Absolutely. Now, another misconception is that AI is only relevant for tech companies or big businesses. But the reality is that AI is being applied in pretty much every industry, and it's becoming increasingly accessible to businesses of all sizes. We've already seen examples of this with Baidu and Google and Block opening up access to their AI tools.
Right, it's not just for the big players anymore. Small businesses and even individuals can leverage the power of AI to improve their operations, their products, their lives.
Exactly. And that's really the exciting thing about this AI revolution. It's democratizing access to powerful technology, and it's creating opportunities for innovation across all sectors of society.
Well said. But let's not shy away from the potential downsides of AI. We've talked about bias and job displacement. But what are some other concerns we should be aware of?
Well, privacy is a big one. AI systems often rely on vast amounts of data, and there's always the risk that this data could be misused or fall into the wrong hands. It's crucial to choose AI tools and services from reputable providers who have strong privacy policies in place.
So do your research. Read the fine print before you hand over your data to an AI. What other risks should we be aware of?
Security is another big one. As AI systems become more sophisticated, they also become more vulnerable to attacks. Hackers could potentially manipulate AI systems to spread misinformation, steal data, or even cause physical harm.
That's a chilling thought. It sounds like AI security is an issue that deserves a lot more attention. What can be done to mitigate these risks?
Well, it's definitely an area where a lot of research and development is currently focused. Companies are investing heavily in AI security, and governments are starting to develop regulations and guidelines. But even with the best security measures in place, there's always the risk of unintended consequences. AI systems can sometimes behave in unpredictable ways, and it's crucial to have really robust testing and monitoring systems in place to catch any errors or anomalies.
So it's not enough to just develop AI systems. We also need to carefully monitor and manage them to make sure they're working as intended and not causing harm. It's like having a powerful new car. You need to know how to drive it responsibly and be prepared for any unexpected situations.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the importance of human oversight. AI should be seen as a tool to augment human intelligence, not replace it. We need to keep the humans in the loop, so to speak, to provide guidance, to make ethical decisions, and ensure that AI is used for good.
Right. It's about finding that balance between human ingenuity and AI capabilities, working together to create a better future. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about some of the more exciting and innovative applications of AI that we're seeing emerge. What's really capturing your imagination these days?
One area that I find particularly fascinating is the intersection of AI and creativity. We're seeing AI being used to compose music, create art, write poetry, even generate entire movies.
Wait, AI can write poetry. I'm intrigued, but also slightly terrified. Tell me more.
It's pretty mind-blowing. There are AI systems that can analyze vast amounts of text, learn the patterns and structures of language, and then generate original poems. And some of these poems are surprisingly good. And it raises these interesting questions about, the nature of creativity and what it means to be human.
Wow, that's deep. So AI is not just about crunching numbers and automating tasks, it's also pushing the boundaries of what's possible in art and creativity. It's challenging our assumptions about what it means to be creative. Is something that's unique to humans? Or can machines also be creative?
That's a question that philosophers have been debating for centuries, and AI is adding a whole new layer of complexity to that discussion. I think it's safe to say that we're only just beginning to explore the potential of AI in the creative realm, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds. But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment. For businesses that are looking to incorporate AI into their operations, what are some practical tips or advice that you can offer?
That's a great question. We've talked about a lot of high-level concepts, but what are some actionable steps that businesses can take to start leveraging the power of AI?
Well, I think first and foremost, start with a clear understanding of your business goals and how AI can actually help you achieve them. Don't just jump on the AI bandwagon because it's trendy. Have a specific problem that you're trying to solve or a process that you want to improve.
So have a strategy, don't just wing it. Makes sense.
What else? Once you have a clear goal in mind, do your research. Identify the right AI tools and services for your needs. There are countless options available, so it's important to choose the ones that are best suited for your specific industry and business model.
So don't just go for the shiniest object. Choose the tool that actually fits the job. What else should businesses keep in mind as they kind of embark on this AI journey?
Well, remember that implementing AI is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. You'll need to constantly monitor and adjust your AI systems to make sure they're delivering the results you want, and to adapt to changing market conditions. It's about being agile and iterative, just like any other aspect of business.
That's a great point. AI is not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. It requires ongoing attention and refinement. And don't forget about the human factor.
Absolutely. AI is a powerful tool, but it's ultimately up to humans to decide how it's used. Make sure you have the right people in place with the right skills and expertise to manage and oversee your AI systems. It's not just about the technology, it's about the people who use it.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI, I want to hear your thoughts on the future of AI. Where do you see this technology heading in the next 5 to 10 years? What are your predictions?
Oh, that's a big question. But I'm excited about the possibilities. I think we'll see AI becoming even more integrated into our lives, from the way we work to the way we interact with the world around us. AI is going to become more ubiquitous, more embedded in our everyday experiences. Think about smart homes, personalized recommendations, even self-driving cars. AI is already making its presence felt in many aspects of our lives, and I think this trend is only going to accelerate.
So we're talking about a future where AI is less of a separate entity and more of a seamless part of our daily lives. It's almost like AI will become invisible. working behind the scenes to make our lives easier and more efficient.
Exactly. And I think we'll also see AI becoming more personalized and tailored to our individual needs and preferences. Imagine having AI assistants that can anticipate our needs, AI-powered healthcare systems that provide personalized treatments, and AI-driven educational tools that adapt to our learning styles.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's like AI will become more human-centric, more focused on improving our lives in meaningful ways. It's a vision of a future where AI empowers us to live healthier, happier, and more fulfilling lives.
Precisely. And I think we'll also see AI playing an even bigger role in addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges, from climate change to poverty to disease. We've already touched on some of the amazing work being done in these areas. And I believe that AI will be instrumental in finding solutions to these global problems.
So AI is not just a tool for business. It's a tool for good, a catalyst for positive change on a global scale.
Exactly. But of course, with all this potential comes responsibility. We'll need to grapple with ethical considerations, ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly, and address concerns about job displacement and privacy.
Right, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are real concerns that need to be addressed,
Yeah.
and we need to have open and honest conversations about the potential risks as well as the benefits of AI.
Absolutely. But I'm optimistic that we can overcome these challenges and harness the power of AI for the betterment of humanity. It's going to be an exciting journey, and I'm eager to see what the future holds.
Well, that's a great note to end on, but before we sign off, I want to remind everyone that we've only scratched the surface here today. There's so much more to learn about AI, and we encourage you to continue exploring this fascinating and rapidly evolving field. And speaking of exploring, if you want to dive deeper into all the articles and resources we discussed today, be sure to head over to razor.co and subscribe to their newsletter.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll get links to all the, fascinating articles that we talked about and so much more. They've got great content on AI business trends, the future of work.
It's a must-read for anyone who wants to, stay ahead of the curve in this crazy, fast-moving world.
I couldn't agree more. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dives into the world of AI. It's been quite a journey, but I hope you've come away with a better understanding of how this technology is shaping the world and what it means for all of us.
It really is a transformative time, and understanding AI is no longer optional, it's essential for anyone who wants to thrive in the years to come.
Absolutely. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one developing the next groundbreaking AI application.
That's right. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll be here to guide you through it all. Thanks for joining us.